Everybody, welcome back. Craig Schaub here with Bob Garver, our New York City film critic. If Bob is here, we are talking movies. And Bob, it's been a few weeks. We've had a little bit of a break in our reviews, so we have quite a few movies to get going on this week's show. But how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and I am ready to jump in. Jump
All
in.
right, well, kick us off. What do you have first?
I'm going to start off with a movie I saw, I believe, 4 weeks ago, and that is a movie called Challengers. It's a movie we've seen trailers for a long time. We saw trailers for it for a few months when it was supposed to open in the fall. And then it got moved to the spring, so we saw trailers for it for a few more months. So I'm glad it finally opened, so we can move on to some new trailers. But
Yeah.
it's a movie about Mike Face and Jack O'Connell and Zendaya in a love triangle for the ages, with tennis as its sort of overarching theme. It's a pretty good movie. Some nice quick exchanges, not unlike some quick verbal exchanges, not unlike a tennis match. Um, but it's one of those movies that if it doesn't pull off its concept 100%, it falls noticeably short. And I don't think it pulls off the concept 100%. And for that reason, I can't recommend it. I had to give it a C, even though it has its good moments, but it has a lot more dull downtime.
Okay. All right. What's your next movie?
Next movie is The Fall Guy. This is the action comedy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. She's a director of a movie, and he's a stuntman uh, tasked with punching up the movie and also finding the star, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is missing. And he gets into a wild conspiracy that involves him having to put all of his action star skills to the test. Um, and the parts where Gosling and Blunt get to have chemistry are very nice,
Yeah.
and uh, the parts where he uh, the action scenes in a bubble are very nice.
Yes.
It doesn't it The plot about the missing movie star, that aspect of the script could probably use some punching up, but yeah, I mean, it is just nice to watch in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's a love letter to people that work behind the scenes in Hollywood, which, um, obviously, given the recent strike, is a very relevant matter. And I guess there's people in front of the camera too that were involved in this strike. But yeah, and of course, it makes a case for uh, stunt performers getting that Oscar
Yeah.
that people have been campaigning for in recent years.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw The Fall Guy as well. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. It was enjoyable. It does run a little thin plot wise, and I think you're absolutely right. Great chemistry between Gosling and Blunt. I think when they're on screen together, the movie really zings, and I think when the action is on scene, it really soars. The plot about the missing, finding the missing action hero is a little thinly drawn, and it kind of runs its course and it fades away, and then it tries to you know come back in a big way at the end with all these twists and turns, and I think it probably overdoes it. This is the kind of movie to me that probably works better as little to no plot and all action, and maybe some of those nice zingy one liners between Blunt and Gosling, and it works better. But I did like it overall. What was your final grade for The Fall Guy?
I give it a B minus.
Okay. All right. What do you have next?
Um, Next, I believe this movie opened the same weekend as The Fall Guy, but I saw the TV Glow.
Okay.
This is a movie about two teenagers, or at least they are teenagers for most of the movie, um, who bond over a love of a really cheesy TV show in the 90s. And uh, years later, it comes back, where one of them goes through an experience like one of the characters in the show, and it has a profound effect on her. But the other realizes that she's probably talking about a lot more than the show, and in fact, the relationship was always about a lot more than the show, dealing with family drama and other personal personal challenges in their lives. Um, but she's so convinced that it starts to have a tangible effect on him. It's a weird movie, and a lot of critics really like it. I like certain elements of it, but at the same time, one thing it does wrong, one thing it does that I don't like is a lot of very stilted dialogue. Every scene is pause, monotone delivery, another pause, and then it'll switch to another actor, and then they'll pause, monotone delivery, another pause. So I
Yeah.
couldn't I couldn't get into the movie for that reason, and
Okay.
unfortunately, I had to go as low as a D
Okay.
as far as a recommendation.
All right.
What I don't suppose you've seen it?
I have not seen that. No.
Okay.
What's your next movie?
Next movie, okay, the big one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So far, the only real movie to take advantage of summer being blockbuster season. Yes, it's been a
Yes.
pretty thin summer thus far.
Yeah, the Fall Guys very disappointed box office. So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes though did resurrect it a little bit. What's your thoughts on the movie?
Um, I well, this movie takes place 300 years after the reign of Caesar, the Andy
Okay.
Serkis character from the first three movies of this continuity. But this movie picks up with a new ape, and his village is destroyed, and he has to go get get revenge for it, get his community back, and he has to team up with other apes and even a human who have been all but wiped out at this point. Uh, but there is one human woman left, and the two form an uneasy bond. But yeah, I mean this. It's nice to see a good action movie um, in a year that has been sorely lacking them. The movie, I think, really drags for the first hour or so, but once he actually gets to the kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, then things pick up. Then it becomes a really good action movie with some really good twists and turns, and good summer blockbuster type stuff. I give it a B minus.
Okay. All right. So I guess a sequel to the 2010s trilogy. Obviously, it's made a little bit of money so far in its early going. You're probably anticipating another trilogy out of this, or
Yeah, I
more to
think
come.
another trilogy sounds about right.
Okay. All right. What's your next movie?
Uh, Next movie is oh gosh, what did I see this weekend? If
Okay.
is the movie this weekend,
Yeah.
and this one is about a 12-year-old girl that uh, is staying with her grandmother while her father has heart surgery. And while she's there, she discovers that her upstairs neighbor, um, uh, I should say her upstairs neighbors, are at least two ifs or imaginary friends that have gotten separated from their children that grew up. And they go. One of them, played by Ryan Reynolds, uh, introduces her to a whole retirement home full of imaginary friends, and she takes on the task of trying to either rehome them or reuniting them with their previous children that they were attached to.
Well, and it's quite a departure, I think, for John Krasinski. Obviously known mostly for A Quiet Place movies. Obviously plays Jack Ryan in Tom Clancy series on Amazon Prime. So, going to the kids side of things, how does Krasinski's transition over here to family-friendly filmmaking work?
Well, when I think of John Krasinski, I still think of The Office,
Sure.
and that's a pretty light show, and this is a pretty light movie, so it makes sense.
Okay.
It's on brand for the Krasinski that I know, but I know that his movie career has largely focused on horror and action movies. So for people who only know him for his movie career, maybe
Mhm.
this is a departure, but it's not a departure from the Krasinski I know.
Okay. So, what did you think of If or IF, Imaginary Friend?
It's not fully realized.
Hmm.
It rushes in a lot of places, and I think it's kind of a mess. And I had to give it a C. I
Okay.
really wanted to give it a B minus because kids could use a good movie right now, but it just never comes together in a way
Right.
that works as a blockbuster, works as children's entertainment. Um, that just really works, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Well, do you have any other movies that we didn't get to yet?
Babes, a movie that
Oh,
also opened this past weekend.
okay.
This is a comedy directed by Pamela Adlon, another TV, mostly known for TV actress, making her way to directing. This is a pregnancy comedy about two best friends, one played by Alana Glazer, who is about to have a baby, and Michelle Buteau, who has already had two babies. And it's just, the up and downs of motherhood, and the up and downs of their friendship, and the up and downs of life.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, but it's actually very funny, and I can safely say that I think it's going to become an indie breakthrough
Okay.
under the right circumstances. Um, it's my favorite movie of the year so far,
Okay.
behind Dune Part Two, and I go so high as to give this one a B.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, any other movies before we sign off for the week?
One more, a movie that is I got to see an advanced screening of this past week, and that is Garfield.
Oh, yeah.
Garfield. I got to see Garfield, and I even got to pick up this little squish toy at the advanced screening.
All right. Very
Uh,
cool.
but I've always been a big fan of Garfield and Friends. That was like my favorite cartoon growing up,
Okay.
and I always appreciated his dry humor. Um, Chris Pratt here does not sound like he is making an effort to really capture the character, which I know laziness is kind of on brand, but not this brand of laziness. If it
Okay.
makes sense,
Okay.
a lot of slapstick, not the drillness that Garfield is known for. Um, didn't care for this one. Give it a C minus.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Chris Pratt getting all these voice acting gigs. He got the Mario Brothers movie last year, and everybody was, you know, wondering what he was going to do with that. And they said it was going to be a new vision of Mario, and it ended up just being Chris Pratt talking in the movie. It wasn't any, he
Yeah.
didn't do anything voice wise, and here it sounds the same too. So, all right, Bobo, what do you have coming up on the horizon?
Well, of course, Furiosa is coming up this week, and then I might not even see a movie next week because I've already seen Garfield, and that
Okay.
might wind up being the movie. So,
All right.
um,
Well, we will talk some Furiosa coming up, a Mad Max saga. Very interested to hear your thoughts on that. Bob, as always, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you talking movies with us, and we hope that you have a great week at the movies.
thank you very much. This is the highlight of my week.